Are you willing to do the hard work? I'm here in my sister-in-law's house, and she asked me to paint the ceiling. If you've ever painted a ceiling, you understand how painful and how difficult it is to keep your arms raised above your head for so long a period. It's really tiring to do that, and yet it needs to be done. It's something where you need to continue to focus and work at it, otherwise the ceiling's never going to get painted. If you are encouraged by these videos, I would ask you to subscribe to the channel, click the like button, and share this with somebody right now to encourage them. Thank you. You know, as I was painting the ceiling, I began to think about Exodus chapter 17. That's the story about when Joshua was down on the battle and Moses was up on a mountain looking at the battle and realizing that he needed to pray. And as Moses prayed, he lifted up his hands to the Lord to call out to the Lord so that Joshua would have the victory. It got so tiring for Moses that he had to have two people hold up his hands so that he would continue to pray to the Lord. I love that picture of holding up your arms. It's like with a child with its father lifting up their arms asking for help. What a beautiful picture of prayer that was, and what a picture of how difficult prayer can be to continue to do. How are you in your prayer life with people that are struggling in their life and going through great challenges? Are you a prayer warrior where you are in a sense willing to lift up your arms to the Lord and call on God to help them and rescue them from their difficulties and to answer their prayer? It is so easy for us to give up, to let our hands come down figuratively, to give up in prayer, because prayer is a hard work, but prayer is one of the most important things we can do. Through prayer, God moves mountains. God is a great God that wants to answer our prayers, but He calls on us to prayer because as we pray, we are focusing our attention on the one who is able to deliver, the one who is able to help. And that's pictured again in lifting up of those hands. Well, the incredible part of the story is that as Moses lifted up his hands and as he had help lifting up his hands, when his hands were lifted up to the Lord, Joshua won the battle. When he lowered his hands, Joshua was losing the battle. This is the other part of the story that's so challenging. Doing the hard work of prayer, keeping your hands up figuratively, has a powerful impact. Through your prayers, through lifting up, through that persistence in prayer, we can see God do great things. There is a direct connection we see in this story in Exodus 17 of Moses' prayer and victory. And how often we forget that. How often we forget that our prayers, because we're calling out a God, that God is powerful, and through our prayers that we can accomplish much. It says in James chapter 5 that the effective prayers of a righteous man or woman availeth or count for much. I think the challenge for me in my own life and my encouragement to you is to think about that example of Moses. Whether you're just painting a ceiling and your arms are getting tired, or you are in that process of prayer right now, praying for somebody not to give up. If you need to have other people come around you to hold up your hands figuratively and pray, to pray with you and encourage you, we need to see the power of prayer and what God can do through our prayers. So I just want to encourage you, as you know of loved ones that are struggling in their faith and people that are going through great difficulties, to not lower your hands, but to raise your hands to the Lord and to call out to God in prayer, asking God to heal, God to help, God to rescue, God to strengthen in the midst of all they're going through. And just like with Moses, as you keep your arms raised up to the Lord, calling out to Him, God is going to help, God is going to answer. Hey, I'd encourage you in the comment section down below. It is such an encouragement for me to see those comments. And I'd ask you to share ways that maybe you have lifted your hands to the Lord, that you have called out to the Lord, and God has answered a prayer for you. Share that in the comments section so that we can encourage each other and remind each other about the ways that God has answered our prayers. God bless, and commit yourself to prayer and see what God can do.